Danny, will you come up and
So for those of you who don't know, my name is Danny Wood. I met Kelly about 13 years ago, and I'm privileged to be sharing my limited view from his time, from my angle of life, and I'm sure we all have our own views, but I'd like to share mine today. My relation with Kelly is that with this pretty lady here, Becky. I married his daughter, and we've been together for 14 years. Now, I wasn't sure how I was going to start today's speech, so I decided to start off with a trick that Kelly taught me. So, Dylan, do you have a 20? That's the trick. He put the money in his pocket, only in his version of the trick, he laughed in my face, slapped his knee, and ended off with a name calling. I never got the 20 back until today. I was told that when I first meet him for the first time, he would ask if I'm Irish. And he did. And so my answer was, I'm full of ish. I'm Scottish, I'm Irish, and I'm English. I figured I needed a backup plan, and I've learned that with Kelly, you definitely need a backup plan. He never made it easy for us guys to date his daughters. During the first meeting, he asked me if I've ever done anything he'd need to kill me for, and that was a daughter reference. He then slammed a knife into the table between my fingers, and that was a warning never to hurt his girls in the future. I got the point. But what's funny is how hard of a man he is on the outside. He's actually a softer one on the inside. His heart is as big as the moon and back. You wouldn't know unless you're in his core circle, but I've never actually met a person so complex and interesting as Kelly. He truly wrote his own book, living by his own rules and making it up along the way. I think that's why he and I hit it off so well, because we both do the same thing, our rules, our way. But he takes it to the extreme. I mean, who moves out to the bush and sleeps outside to build a cabin over the summer? No power, no running water, no problem. I told him one day, you know, Kelly, it's ironic that you moved off the grid because we're actually living 30 feet from what's under it, and I pointed up to the hydro line. To get the water, he dug a well using the well witching technique, which is when you use a stick to find water under the ground. It actually worked. Who can find water under the ground using a stick and then dig a hole so that he has water? Only Kelly. The camp, as he calls it, was the perfect environment for him. Intentionally uninviting from outsiders, but home to the rest of us. Always having guests come and go. He has more friends than I do. He has more friends than most of us do. I recall the peaceful moments at camp, just sitting in silence with him, the smell of burning wood, the wind blowing over the cornfields, the birds playing in the background, and the soft hum of the charging power through the lines above. Especially after it rained or a heavy fog, the air would just pop with electricity. It was also a place of constant gatherings, amazing barbecues, and music that we could stomp our feet to. He loved it. He could do whatever he wanted, when he wanted. It was like summer camp, and he was the camp counselor. He'd say and pretend that he doesn't like company, but the truth is he never lived without it. Holidays are his favorite, especially Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, and St. Paddy's Day, as long as somebody was around to celebrate it with. He wanted to give gifts more than receive them, mostly because you had to be there in his presence to receive it, and that's all he really wanted, was your company. I'd always try and get him a gift that allowed him to show off his crazy bushman skills, like a book on tying knots. He loved teaching me. He loved teaching everybody. The truth is, he could have written the books that I was giving him. He never stopped learning. He was a self-taught sponge, full of anything you wanted to know. Geography, history, music were his favorites. Dylan would actually go over prepared with a list of the most obscure, random questions, and Kelly had the answers. That, or he made them up, we don't know. He is an old dog who continually taught himself new tricks. To this day, I still don't know how to yell into my phone and have a Google search for me. Apparently you can, and Kelly figured it out. He also proves that you can text your son-in-law at any time of the night by doing the same thing, yelling into your phone. I love you, Dano, and it would put the extra O's. I don't know how hard he had to yell for that, but he would. He proved to me that learning to live has a lot to do with learning to play. And that's something we should all learn from Kelly. If our time is limited, we should have fun with every second we get, with whatever is in your presence. For a guy who probably never did his taxes, he actually would have made a good bookkeeper. He documented what mattered most, his kids. He tracked how many calls it took to reach them, the dates, how long they talked on the phone, and what they talked about. He had a list for everything. I think he had a list of his list. The relationships of his parents and his children, the relationship of parents and children tend to fade as time goes on. His, however, grows stronger. At the end of the day, it's his family that counts the most. Sisters, parents, children, and friends alike. It's said that we are each the center of our own universe. But to some of us who are lucky, our gravitational pull is so great that it draws everyone into our own reality. That is so true for Kelly. No matter who, what, where, when, or why you were around him, he was always the center of our attention. It's his life, so why shouldn't it be? His pride and unique style made him a true badass. He lived by his own rules, but couldn't have done it alone. I know he's looking down in this room right now and saying, right on, man, right on. Dano's right. I couldn't have done it alone, because if I did, I wouldn't have so many people standing here with me today. Give me a fist pump. And he's cheersing right now. That's my 13-year perspective, boiled down in only a few minutes. Kelly, I wish I knew you the full 63 years. So to this end, I want to say thank you. We love you. May you rest in peace.